Hello everyone, this is Charles. This video is called Repetition, 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 and I want to use it to explain one means by which we were all duped. Repetition, repetition, repetition is to teaching what location, location, location is to real estate. And that repetition, repetition, repetition was how we were all duped. All right, I left the U.S. in late 1999 for Bangkok, Thailand to earn a TESOL certificate. I then spent the next 12 years teaching English to students of other languages in Thailand, Qatar, and South Korea. It didn't take me long to realize that to be a good teacher, I had to get the students relaxed while speaking. I had to make learning English fun with learning games and practicing by presenting the same things over and over again in different ways, in multiple ways, for them and therefore me to be successful. I don't know why this isn't advancing on its own, but I'm going to plunge ahead. Repetition. Repetition, repetition. It was there, while teaching, I learned one of the most important principles of effective teaching. Repetition, 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 but with variation. I couldn't just throw the same thing at them every class and expect them to stay engaged. I had to vary the delivery, the presentation. In my classes, the lessons might be the same, but how it was learned changed constantly. This made English fun, and the students weren't bored. In short, and I wasn't bored either. In short, they learned what it was I wanted them to learn while having fun, while being entertained. This repetition, repetition, repetition model has been used most effectively against all of us, all of our lives, especially when it comes to that material we would not naturally believe otherwise. This repetition, repetition was varied. The means by which the indoctrination was presented varied over time, but it was the same message, only presented in different forms. For example, the spinning spear earth was shown to us by images like this one here. Or from our earliest days, we are presented with and taught the spinning spear earth model.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
But hey, for Christoph, hello.
It's as simple as that. They present us with the reality that they want us to believe, and we accept it. I had a globe just like this one, pretty much, in my library. And then, you know, the maps on the walls we saw during elementary, middle, and then high school, and even into college looked like this one. Or we were shown this one. It was a political map. Sometimes it was a physical map. But it was always a globe map. But always the shape of a spear and always a globe map. Whenever I did see a map or model of the flat earth, it always looked like this, which everybody knows is ridiculous. Ships would fall off the edge of the earth if it were flat, we were told. It was only recently that I learned that the ancient Israelite Phoenicians made up the tale that the earth was flat to preserve and protect their secret. And their secret being, their very profitable secret was, yes, the earth was flat, but no, you cannot sail off the edge. So they were out in the oceans, and they knew the truth. And some Israelites, not to be confused with the Jews, left Egypt during the time Joseph was number 2 in all the land. They traveled all up and down the coast of both north and south of the Strait of Gibraltar. These travels helped make the Egyptian pharaohs very wealthy. Israelite kings David and Solomon also took great advantage of their knowledge of the sea, and they too became very wealthy from the commodities their ships brought back from as far away as the upper Lake Michigan in North America, and iron ore from Brazil, which was in the Hebrew language spelled BRZL, and the word BRZL means iron ore, and today, to this date, Brazil has some of the largest deposits of iron ore in the world. And they also traveled up to Corvallis in the British Isles, BRTN in Hebrew, to get tin. That was what made Joseph of Arimathea in the time of Christ, who was the uncle, I believe, to Jesus. And that made him very, very wealthy, and he was on a first name basis with the men and the handlers or the guards around Pontius Pilate. He could just walk in there and ask for the body of Christ because he was a trader of tin and cotton to the Roman Empire. The lesson of this video is not the flat earth myth of the earliest ocean sailing Israelite Phoenicians, so I won't delve any further into this subject, but encourage you to check it out for yourselves. So back to our subject, the effective brainwashing of a populace by the effective use of varied repetition. In Thailand, we called it same, but different. The varied repetition was not only in the globes and maps, but also presented to us virtually in every movie we watched. I don't know about you, but when I was young, I watched quite a few movies or television programs where I was presented the globe. Here we have the Universal logo that was presented to us between 1990 and 1997. You've all seen them. Like I say, that's how we were duped, folks. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Same, but only different. Had we been presented with this model, I quite likely would have had it in my library instead of the globe model I had. Had we been presented with this model, and it was repeatedly presented to me, I would have no doubt accepted it as well. Or had we been presented the flat earth model, which is, of course, the logo of the United Nations, it's their symbol, we probably would have believed in the flat earth instead. So, folks, it was the repetition given to us in a multitude of ways that enabled them to dupe us. They did the same thing with the Holocaust. They did the same thing with 9/11. They just keep hammering and hammering and hammering us from all sides. But the publishing houses, the Talmud Vision programming, the Hollywood movies, it's just repeating over and over again. And it was Adolf Hitler. Yes, folks, go ahead, call me an evil Nazi. But it was Adolf Hitler that pointed out that the same people who've been using this repetition of the lie to us are experts at it. And if they repeat it long enough and often enough and in very many different ways, we begin to believe it. We begin to believe the lie. And that's exactly what has happened. Thank you for watching. And until next time, see ya.